So what did I say earlier? I said I didn't really know the recipients, but they seemed like leaders, and I feel like I was a decent judge of the first recipient's character. I also suggested that this is a somewhat papal setup that was lent itself to impassioned sermons and prayer, and we got both. Yeah. With no further ado, we're going to continue right along here. There's plenty of time to obviously make jokes about the papal setup up here. I want to bring up Ann Alonzo. Ann Alonzo is here to introduce to us the Farmer of the Year. I made some jokes about whether he was deserving or not, but I'm actually sitting next to him. And I have no question, this man is the Farmer of the Year. Ann, are you here? Come on up and let's do some business. Ann Alonzo, of course, Administrator for the Agricultural Marketing Service, is going to give us a little bit of a USDA update, but she's really here to bring us the Farmer of the Year. Hi, Ann. Thank you very
much. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be in Baltimore with so many good friends from OTA, and typically I'm here to announce a regulatory advance or an announcement of a new grant, according to Marty, but today I have a higher calling, and that is to announce the Farmer of the Year. And while I have the microphone, though, and I have my USDA hat on, it's really been a landmark year for this sector, for organic agriculture, and USDA's support is strong and unwavering. As Tom mentioned, since we passed the Organic Food Productions Act 25 years ago, retail sales have continued to grow, and they've gone from $1 billion to $39 billion, and we had another organic equivalency agreement this year with Switzerland under our belt, so we're doing fabulously. That success and the jobs and the economic opportunities it creates starts with the organic farmers who are committed to producing food that meet the organic standards that my agency and our program, the National Organics Program, undersees. And so thank you for that. Over the next couple of days, you're going to hear from my colleagues from my team, Miles McAvoy and Betsy Ricola. Where are you? Please show. I know they're here. Here they are, here tonight. About a lot of the exciting things that we're doing at USDA in support of this sector. And I just want to briefly, since I have the microphone, touch on research. We're keenly aware of the practical importance of research solutions, and we're committed to helping you in this regard. And with the 2014 Farm Bill, our sister agency, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, NIFA, is providing $100 million over the next 5 years for organic research, extension, and education via OREI. And it's so key, and we know it, to help you tackle the challenges related to pests and disease and nutrients and more. And that brings me to Benny McLean, tonight's recipient of OTA's 2015 Organic Farmer of the Year Award. I just met Benny tonight, and he is so popular. Everybody is centered around Benny. I hope he adopts me because I'm adopting him. And he's the production manager of Uncle Matt's Organic. He's a recognized leader for his commitment in supporting research that will help organic farmers in the long term. And this is a key reason why he's being honored tonight, for his focus on education and research. As a third-generation Florida citrus grower, Benny started out working in the Florida citrus industry in the 50s as part of his dad's hand crew near Orlando. In 1999, Benny converted his citrus operation to organic farming. As many of you know, though, the citrus industry is facing enormous damage from citrus greening disease, and this is an especially big problem for organic producers who can't use pesticides and other treatments that don't comply with organic standards. For Benny's company, the citrus greening damage has been significant. Uncle Matt's Organic saw about a 30% reduction in its 2014 crop, but Benny is taking action. He is leading Uncle Matt's in pursuing long-term sustainable strategies to eradicate greening disease, including the use of parasitic wasps, and conducting cutting-edge research with OTA and the Organic Research Center. Benny's leadership during this crisis for the citrus industry is not a surprise to those who know him. He has a long career and history being a pioneering force and agricultural activist in the development of the organic citrus industry for this country. He's truly made a difference. He is responsible for converting close to 1,500 acres of citrus in Florida to organic and has helped over 25 small farmers convert to organic production. And Benny's impact is not just in the U.S. He served as an international citrus consulting and has helped international companies as far as the Bahamas and Central and South America. Today, Benny shares his passion for organic farming and citrus as the face of Uncle Matt's Organic. In fact, Benny gives grove tours every day to everyone from 4-H and FFA to the chefs from Disney World. And Benny, hopefully you will invite me to visit you sometime soon. If Benny weren't busy enough, he's also active enjoying his 12 grandchildren who live within 10 miles of his house. And for everybody, he has them nicely on his iPhone, and they're beautiful. And so congratulations. I also want to acknowledge his family who came here today from Florida, from Uncle Matt's, Alex, Matt, Annie, and Ben. Thank you for joining us on this special occasion. Finally, folks in this room, in Florida, and even around the world, have benefited from Benny's knowledge and his generosity. With his focus on education and research, he's built a strong foundation that will live on. We owe him a debt of gratitude. Please join me in enthusiastically congratulating a most deserving Benny McLean, OTA's 2015 Organic Farmer of the Year.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ann, for the introduction, and you laid it on real thick. And I want to thank the OTA for everything they have done for the organic industry, not only in the state of Florida, but the whole U.S. And it's great to be backed and have somebody that has strength in Congress, whether it's statewide or nationwide, that we can back up, that we feel they're supporting us, and when we get in these tight situations, we have something that we can fall back on. And the two guys that have talked ahead of me, they stole a lot of my thunder, but there's two key words, soils and opportunity. And I just want to digress a minute, because my dad was very important and a very big factor in Uncle Matt's. I'm the oldest of 5 boys, and I have 3 sisters stuck in there too. They didn't marry ag guys, so they didn't really fit into the equation. All the boys are in the citrus business with the exception of one brother, and he was smart enough to do something besides grow citrus. He's coaching football in one of the high school football teams in Florida. But my dad was very, very excited when Matt came into the family business and came up with the idea of, you know, could we try growing citrus in Florida organically? You know, and my dad looked at Matt and said, Matt, we did this for 150 years. Prior to this, nobody ever told us it was organic. So he was very encouraged with Matt's dream and the possibility of even doing something like this in Florida. And he was so excited because he said, I've got all these sons and these grandsons, and everybody knows how to grow it, but nobody knows how to market it and sell it. So he was all excited for Matt. So it's not only an honor for me to be named the Outstanding Organic Farmer of the Year, but to work with a organic family. And you heard Ann mention my grandkids. You know, I had a little notice here, you know, keep it to 8 minutes, my talk. I have 12 grandkids. They all live within 10 miles of my house. If I just spent 1 minute on each one, that's 12 minutes. So they've all worked in the business, okay? And the oldest one is 20, and the youngest one's a year and a half. And they've picked peaches, they've picked tangerines, they've picked grapefruit, they've picked oranges, and they've all worked in the grove, all right? I mean, out there with the ants and the gnats and the bees and all the pests that we have, the problems, and the hot and sweaty. So it's, for me, to see that, I feel so honored. And one of the things, my dad passed away in '03. In fact, he was riding with Ben the day he died. But he was very specific to me being the oldest of the 5 boys. I spent most of the time with my dad. And he was very adamant about my grandkids. And he told me, he said, I see this as a big problem. He said, your grandkids, that generation, nobody's teaching them how to work. He said, it's going to be a big problem in this country. He said, you got to promise me you're going to teach those grandkids how to work. So that's been my goal. I've been very rewarded as I see these young grandkids growing up. So our speaker mentioned soils. One of the biggest things I learned from my dad was all about soils. He graduated from University of Florida in 1939. They taught, all the land-grant universities in the U.S. taught the Albrecht method of soil balancing, okay? I graduated in 1965 from the University of Florida, and I learned what we call the pH method. Okay, my dad and I, for many, many years, on trying to grow citrus in Central Florida. And he would constantly say to me, son, you don't understand soil chemistry, physics, and biology. You know, and I was, Dad, that's old. You learned that 40 years ago. Listen, I learned the pH method. You know, this is the new thing. I understand. I know what I'm doing. Just watch me. My dad, you know, he'd just shake his head and say, boy, you're going to grow up to be an old, gray-headed, frustrated citrus grower in the state of Florida. So the other word that they stole was opportunity. Okay, we got in the organic arena, and Ben came into the business. Ben does all the R&D for Uncle Matt's. Matt does, we kind of use the phrase, you know, I grow it, Matt sells it, and Ben researches it. So, but we got a family business, and the opportunity came to us to start growing citrus in the state of Florida organically. Now, for everybody that is here, I'm assuming the majority of people here is from what I call the Midwest soils. You know, farming in Central Florida is like Daytona Beach. It's just sand. I mean, it's unbelievable when I walk out here and I look at these soils compared to what I try to grow citrus in. But it's all about soil chemistry, physics, and biology. And if you're going to be organic, that's what you've got to identify. You've got to understand that. If you don't understand that, you're not going to be successful growing, just pick a crop organically. The whole conventional game plan is N, P, and K. You want more boxes, put more nitrogen on. If you want bigger fruit, just put potash on. Nobody even talks about what is the chemistry of the soil? What is the physics and the biology? You know, we have a little saying, in our business that if you don't understand the chemistry, then there's no way you're going to be successful in growing any crop. Now, we got organic blackberries, we got organic blueberries, we got organic peaches, and we got just about every variety of citrus known to the citrus industry. And we take a lot of pride in, I like to say, the flavor of the juice. If you address the soil chemistry, physics, and biology, you will taste it, okay? You will taste it in the juice. It piques the flavor. And of course, I'm in the business, and my old taste buds are wearing out, but for many, many years, I could take juice from California, I could take juice from Mexico, I could take juice from the Bahamas, I could take juice from Cuba and set them up there, and I could pick out the Florida juice, all based on the flavor profile that's produced in there. So we were very excited about the opportunity to get in this business and produce a product that people would identify with flavor profile. And I like to let everybody know right now today, I think we're very successful. If you drink our juice and compare it to anybody else's, I think, and if you understand flavor profile, I think you will taste the difference. So, thank you. So, what do I do to keep me motivated other than my 12 grandkids that are hooked to my hip and they work with us? I give farm tours during the season, usually starting around Thanksgiving all the way to Easter. I give farm tours. We call them farm tours. They're not farms, they're groves. And some days I'll have as many as 50 people. Some day I'll only have 2 people. But we give the tours and we take them out into the organic groves that we got. And most of the tour is close to my house. In fact, one of the locations is right at my house. And a lot of the customers that come out are young kids that are from homeschool groups. There may be as many as 25 and maybe as low as 5 or 10. But it amazes me when these young kids come out and I get on my hands and knees and I do what we doodle in the dirt. And I doodle in the dirt and I show them what a root weevil looks like, and I show them what a fire ant looks like, and I show them what a little psyllid looks like. And it's amazing to see these young kids. I just assume that everybody has got grandkids like me that's out there working, barefooted out there sweating, but they're not. They get down there on their hands and knees with me, and they're like, I'm just amazed. I look back and I think, God, what does their mom and dad do? They don't understand that everything grows in this soil, whether it's corn, cabbage, soybeans, or what, and they need to understand what's going on there. So I take this on as a personal challenge. And every group that has ever come on a farm tour with me, the mothers, notice I give the credit to the mothers, not the dads. The mothers always ask me at the end of the tour, why do you enjoy doing this? What is your take-home message? And we really enjoyed all this, but what is it? Why did you go organic? Why didn't you just stay conventional? And I thought about that for many days and many nights, and thinking, man, what a great opportunity to tell my story and my true story, my passion. So I take that opportunity and I explain to them that I said, you see this picture of these 12 grandkids? I want them to understand when they leave Clearmont and they go off on their own, that they have to have food that has nutrients in it. And if you don't have the nutrients, you're not going to have good health. It doesn't matter if you drink it, you eat it, it's got to have the nutrient levels. That's what runs our immune system, okay? And it's the same in an orange tree. They have an immune system that, for some reason, in the problems that we have in the industry right now with citrus greening, for some reason, the tree cannot recognize a simple bacteria as a pathogen and turn on its own immune system. It's that simple, okay? So if you get into the organic arena and you start addressing the soil physics, chemistry, and biology that you learned from the Albrecht method, okay, now that immune system starts working better. Has that solved the problem with Uncle Matt's citrus? No, it hasn't. We still have the problem. We got greening just like the conventional boys do. But we don't have the fruit drop, and we don't have the leaf drop. And a lot of our neighbors are conventional, and we're friends. It's not like it's organic against conventional. And we have a lot of growers that come to us and say, what are you guys doing? How come you don't have the fruit dropping? How come you don't have the leaf dropping? Right across this clay road, we look at all of our fruit drop. And it's all back to basic soil, chemistry, physics, and biology. And this is what Ben spends a lot of his time and effort on, is studying this and trying to get grant money to where we can go to the next level of this. So it's a great opportunity, whether you're growing corn, cotton, soybeans, or whatever. If you follow this method, now you're going to produce a crop that has superior nutrient density. And this is, whether you're feeding a hog or you're feeding a human, this is what it's all about. And I'm going to give you just a quick little example, and then I'm going to shut up and we'll let everybody else continue on with our program. My dad always said, boys, you got to remember one thing. All science begins with observation. I can't quote him exactly, but he said, get your butt out of the office, turn off the phone, turn off the radio, turn off the TV, get out in the grove, ride and look. The answer's out there. The answer's not in here. So all of the brothers and my two sons, we take this to heart, that you've got to observe. Okay, point being, when we first started out in the organic arena, you know, we were braves, thought we knew how to grow every crop there was, so we thought, okay, we're going to do organic watermelons. So we had a 20-acre piece of land, and we went out there and we pulled numerous soil samples, and we had already learned the Albrecht method, and we sent the soil samples to the lab through Neil Kinsey, and we got the samples back, and we addressed every limiting factor in that soil. We spent, on the average, of about $350 an acre just addressing the calcium, the magnesium, the zinc, the manganese, the iron, the boron, and the copper. Nothing to do with nitrogen. We spent about $350 an acre. Okay, we grew this crop of melons, and unfortunately, we didn't do real good on the melons, but we grew a seedless watermelon, and we had pollinizers, one row of pollinizers every 4 rows of seedless melons. And the pollinizing melon was a big melon full of seeds. So after we were all done with the crop, we hired a guy to come in there and do some mowing for us, mow it all down. Okay, I go out there to check on him the next day. Well, and it's a batwing mower. It's a 15-foot wide mower, and he's got about 10 melons, the big melons, sitting on the back of that mower. So I drive up there to him, and he jumps off, and he comes, Mr. McLean, how much I owe you for these melons? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you know, he said, I'm a hog farmer, and he said, I go around to all the stores during the week, and I pick up all the cantaloupe and the melons and everything that they throw away, and I feed my hogs with them. And he said, I want to take these big melons and feed the hogs, and I'm willing to pay for them. I said, no, you can have them, just take them. Okay. All right, so the next day I go back to check on him. And as he sees me coming, now he's flashing the lights on the tractor, and he's like this. So I drive over there to him. He said, Mr. McLean, got a pencil and a pad, and he said, I need to know the variety of that melon. And I said, the variety? What's going on? What are you talking about? And he said, well, I told you. He said, you know, I'm a hog farmer. And he said, people don't realize this, but he said, you know, hogs will fight just like dogs over food. And he said, about twice a week, I go to the Publix and all the stores around, and I get the thrown away melons and everything, throw them in the back of my pickup, and I back up to a little chute. And he said, I got a 40-acre fenced-in field full of hogs, and there's a concrete pad there. And I just back up there, and I start throwing those melons over in the concrete pad, and they bust, and the hogs come up there and eat them. He said, when I started backing up with this load of melons in the back of my truck, of yours, he said, I looked in the mirror, and I saw hogs running up. And he said, I couldn't figure out what was going on. He said, I've never witnessed it. He said, I've been a hog farmer for 40 years. Anyway, he said, I got one melon out, and I'm leaning over the fence ready to drop it. And he said, the hogs are fighting like dogs. And he said, I was shocked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He said, I dropped that melon, and he said, every hog in that 40 acres started running up there. And he said, they ate every speck of that melon, every seed, every little piece of rind. He said, they even licked that concrete slab. He said, I've never seen anything like it. So I need to know what variety it is. Well, you understand, that hog is no dummy, okay? That hog, just like a cow and a horse, they go by smell. They can smell the nutrients in whatever you're feeding them. Like GMO corn, they don't like it, all right? So the whole story of this thing, we learned from observation that there were nutrients in that melon, in those seeds, and those hogs sensed it right off. And they came running up there and started fighting each other to eat those melons. So anyway, that was the very beginning of Uncle Matt's, and I encourage everybody here to try our juice. If you don't like it, call me. Thank you very much.